It looked like defense was optional down in Florida where the Panthers beat the Canucks 8-5. We've got lots to talk about, and we're doing it now on Rink Wide Vancouver. And we welcome you inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. It's Rink Wide Vancouver. It was Florida 8 and the Vancouver Canucks 5. Rink Wide brought to you in part by Bet365. I'm Jeff. He is Irf, the birthday boy, back after his weekend away. And you're back in time to help me recap 13 goals in a hockey game that concludes a wild road trip for the Vancouver Canucks. They go 1-1-1. They get 3 of a possible 6 points, but that doesn't begin to tell the story. And this is a team that was supposed to be built on a stout defense, attention to detail. They added a defensive center over the weekend and plugged him into the lineup, and they still got shelled for 8. This team, I mean, it was fun, I guess, on one level, but the name of the game is keeping the puck out of your net, and they didn't do a very good job of that against the Panthers.
No, they definitely didn't, Jeff. I mean, Jiri Patera hasn't played in over 600 days in the National Hockey
Felt
League.
like 600 years, I think.
And the team in front of him didn't help at all.
Nope.
It's your 4th-string goalie. Honestly, for the Vancouver Canucks, it's a performance that the guys in front of their goaltender should be embarrassed about. To be honest, you get 5 goals. Yeah, I know it's great, but you get shelled for that many. Defending Stanley Cup champions, I get it. But even so, there was momentum. Jeff, they had a 2-goal lead in this one as well. So there was even that.
Well, and again, there was a lot that doesn't make a ton of sense. and yet 21 games in the season, there's a lot that doesn't make a lot of sense about the Vancouver Canucks. But you're right, they were up 2-0 in the first period, and yet it took them 12 minutes to get their first shot on goal. After the first period in Tampa, where they were outshot 13-1 and gave up the late goal, you would have thought, okay, yeah, it's back-to-back. You've got this guy that's been on mothballs at the NHL level. You would think that guys would want to rally around this goaltender, give him a fighting chance. And again, like, we can look at the 7 goals that Jiri Patera gives up, and you're not going to win often when 7 get past you. We're not going to spend a lot of time shredding him. The team owed him a better performance, a better effort. And again, giving up 41 shots. Yeah, they're the 2-time defending champs. They're also without their 2 best forwards. They don't do this to many teams. No. Scored 1 at home the other day against Tampa, and here they light the Canucks up like a Christmas tree in the middle of November. So you know how this works here on Rink Wide. We're going to break it down. We'll go through it. I don't know if we'll go goal by goal. We might be here till midnight if we do it that way. But there are a lot of storylines. Also, 20-game mark after the Tampa win, now at 21 games. So they have reached a quarter of the NHL schedule, and that's going to allow us to sort of step back and really take stock of who the Canucks are, what they are as a hockey club, what's worked for them, and obviously some areas of real concern. And we want to hear from you. We want to include you. We want you to be a part of what we do here at Rink Wide. So bring it with a super chat. Our charity partner, the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. We should be sitting here talking about Quinn Hughes, and we will talk about Quinn Hughes. We should be talking about Petey with his first 2-goal game and the fact that the points are now starting to flow. And 2 goals off the rush. They were both pretty goals. And yet, wrap it all up and throw it in the trash can, really, because it doesn't mean much on a night like tonight. The Canucks fall to 9-10-2 on the season. So 1 step forward, another step back. And that's kind of the way it's been as they lurch to the 21-game mark. Super chat from Happy Jacks. Pathetic with about 6 exclamation points. 14 shots on goal the entire game. Thank goodness Bobrovsky sucked tonight. Could have lost 8-0. Yeah, not a bad night for Bob either.
No.
Kind of felt like goaltending was optional at times in this hockey game. But the real concern is just how badly outshot and outplayed the Canucks were, not just here against the Florida Panthers, but the totality of this road trip where they were outshot 38-17 in Carolina, 30-18 in Tampa Bay, and 41-15 against the champs. So they don't get to 20 shots in any of the games. Like, we knew this was going to be a difficult road trip, just logistically, as far as they had to fly 3 games in 4 nights, the quick turnaround back-to-back here. But that's no excuse. This is the NHL. And you can't get to 20 shots on goal in any of these games, and yet you're just giving up shots at will. Something ain't right with the systems here that the Vancouver Canucks are trying to play.
3 and 4 is tough. You're right. The long road trip, they did go a day early, and the back-to-backs were both in the same state of Florida. Yep. Like, it's not entirely too much. I do get it. It's tough, and they're playing against some good opponents as well. But you're right. It's got to be a little bit of the system. It's got to be a different type of buy-in from this Vancouver Canuck team. You just look at it, and you see examples time and time again of just guys simply not doing their job. You got to feel a little bit bad for David Kampf because he got absolutely shelled in his Canuck debut here. He wasn't good, and that's the center the defensive center that they just gave $1.1 million to. A guy that couldn't crack the lineup on the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's probably a 13th best forward on a good team. And here, the poor guy gets thrown in and expected to be a number 2 center.
Yeah, it was a rough debut for him. Let's be honest. Tough situation, jumping on board. Probably doesn't know all the players by name yet. Good thing they've got names on their back. They
New guy.
Name tags, name tags on the front as well. The night for camp plays 14 minutes and 8 seconds. 454 shorthanded, so he eats up a lot of shorthanded minutes, but he was on the ice for 5 of the 8 Panther goals, 2 on the power play, 3 at even strength, so -3 on the night. The one area that he can help, will help, and did in this game, and he's 11-4, so he won 11 of his 15 faceoffs. That's a good sign. It helped the Canucks win more than they lost, but not enough to make an impact, obviously, at the offensive end of the ice. And he's going to have to learn some systems and clean up some details here. I'll give him a pass on a night where he kind of gets thrown in and you're hoping for the best, but with as you said, not even a third stringer, really a fourth stringer in goal. It was a tough assignment. It was always going to be a tough assignment for the Vancouver Canucks, but it also continues this troubling trend of just getting worked. You got to have the puck in this game. You got to find a way. When you don't have it, you got to go get it. And not enough guys doing that. Way too permissive, just allowing teams to attack the blue line with speed and at will. You saw goals off the rush. You saw questionable checking. I mean, we could go through basically the lineup here, but I think of a couple of goals. The Luke Kunin goal that makes it 3-2 early in the second period. Noah Gregor. Like, not Sam Reinhart, not Brad Marchand, Noah Gregor. Just allowed to freewheel through the Canucks zone, gets the puck to the front of the net, and Kunin, a couple of whacks at it, loose puck. Elias Pettersson off to the side. Evander Kane waved at him as he went by. Quinn Hughes is in the corner for some reason on that play. And then, I just go through the list here. The Lundell goal, that was the 5th of the 5 in a row early in that second period. Lucas Reichel has 2 opportunities on the sideboards to win a puck battle and clear the zone. And guess what? He goes 0 for 2 there. And it's been a tough go for him since he joined the Vancouver Canucks. There are breakdowns all over the ice. So I don't want to feel like I'm singling out one guy or another guy here. There's plenty to go around on a night like this one.
Yeah, it's just guys getting worked. And you said it best there. The Canucks don't intimidate anybody. They're not tough to play against. Nobody's scared or fearing the Vancouver Canucks as in any opponent, in any building that they walk into. Gone are the days of Quinn Hughes going into a building being like, "Oh man, we got to really watch out for that guy." Obviously he gets his few assists, and that's incredible and great for him. But on an overall team effort, that was an 8-5 hockey game, and it sucked.
Yep. I go back to A.J. Greer. The Canucks have the 2-0 lead. It lasts for 36 seconds. First of all, they can't get the puck deep at the Florida line. And then because they don't get it deep, the Canucks get caught on a bad line change. Panthers off to the races the other way, and Greer is there to score off the rush. And then Seth Jones. This Florida team, Murph, came into the night with 2 goals all season from defensemen. Seth Jones had 2 on his own tonight, and he was a factor in this one. And his first of 2 comes with 8 seconds left. 8 seconds left in that first period. Get out of the first period, even though you haven't played all that well and you've been outshot badly, could have taken a lead to the locker room, but they couldn't get out of the first period. penalty kill got caved again here. 2 more after, some positive signs in Tampa Bay where they killed the 2 penalties they took, and those were in crunch time. Tampa had a 2-1 lead, and they were good kills, and credit to them then, but here they go again, and they give up 2 more power play goals. They lead the league in that regard. They now lead the league in raw goals given up. No team in the National Hockey League has given up more goals than your Vancouver Canucks. And again, this was a team that we questioned where would the offense come from, but they'll be okay because they're going to have goaltending and they're going to have this veteran defense core with Hughes and Hronek and Pettersson and Myers and work the young kids in, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, and it's not all on the 6 defensemen, but the 6 defensemen haven't defended well enough. And guys up front haven't helped the players on the blue line. And it is a team game after all. And at the end of the night, you look at this one, and 8-5 is the final score. So they get 5 on the road. That should be money in the bank. You get 5 on the road, you should get a parting gift. Even if you lose, you should get something out of a hockey game like this one. And, they did well to tie it at 5-5 early in the third period. And you thought, okay, it's been far from perfect, but maybe they are going to find a way to grind out something here. And just like in that second period, Phil Hronek scores his first of the year on the power play, 3:14. They can't even get through the next minute. And Sam Bennett with the tip in the slot was allowed to stand there, get his stick on the puck, and then Seth Jones scores on the power play all alone in front of the net. Just made it look – there were too many goals that made it look too easy tonight.
If Kevin Lankinen was in net, how much of a difference do you think it would have made?
The way the Canucks defended, I'd like to think that Florida wouldn't got 8, 7 on a goalie and the empty netter. But would a goaltending decision, would a Kevin Lankinen going back-to-back for the second weekend in a row, would he have been able to swing this in the Canucks' favor again, just with how permissive they were and how easy they allowed Florida to make it look? I don't know. Obviously, Kevin Lankinen's a better goaltender than Jiri Patera, and there are factors at play here. Patera hadn't played a game at any level since November the 1st. That was in Abbotsford, and it didn't go so well. I think he gave up 5 or 6 that night. This is not how he wanted it to go. If Thatcher Demko's out any length of time, the Canucks can't just play Kevin Lankinen every game. Now, their schedule lets up, and they've got 2 games, both at home, in the next 9 nights. Those can both be Lankinen starts, and he can be well-rested and good to go. But after that, they're out on the road, 4-6. There's a back-to-back there. And if Demko's not available into the month of December, you can't just keep running Kevin Lankinen. And so does Jiri Patera get another chance? Do they dare go back down Patera Boulevard? Will Nikita Tolopilo be healthy enough? Still not playing down in Abbotsford, so he's not even an option right now for the farm team, let alone the NHL team. And, through all this, we just don't know about Demko. I know Patrick Elvine over the weekend would only say week to week. He wouldn't agree with the Frank Saravelli 2 to 3 week timeline. The general manager just saying week to week, that's all they were willing to do with Demko right now. So I don't know who it's going to be, but I think we will see another goaltender other than Kevin Lankinen at some point here before Thatcher Demko returns to game action.
Yeah, I think so too. And who knows? Maybe it's going to be someone that they go and acquire.
Imagine if they have to give up assets to get a goal,
to stay mid.
Yeah,
to what? To not be? You're not competitive. You're not going to be competitive by the time it's all said and done. I'm sorry. I don't think that this team is built like that. Is built to go and be there right now. And we've seen signs in games and games and games. What do they have? 14 goals on what? What was it? 50 shots on this road trip?
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yep.
That's 3 NHL games.
Great third period, obviously, in Tampa, and full credit. They weathered a storm, found their way, they got some bounces. At one point in this game, I think after the Hronek goal, to make it 5-5, I went back, did the math, from the second period in Tampa to that point in time, so just over 3 periods, the Canucks had scored 11 goals on 28 shots. What are we doing here? 11 goals on 28 shots? Talk about ridiculously off the charts heated shooting percentages and things that will not last, but that's where we were. And, this team this year has shown, they can score goals. Surprisingly, scoring way more goals than I thought they would. again, though, when you are dead last in the raw goals given up, inexcusable. And it's just, you're not going to be a competitive hockey club in the big picture when you are dead last in the goals surrendered.
And I think of all the stats that we talk about, that's probably the most glaring one.
Yeah.
Dead last in the league. This team just gives up too much. We were told and been given, the runaround and been told that this team is built on defense and goaltending and good team defense. They can't defend.
No.
And they can't score. Well, I guess today they did, but...
And yes, Teddy Bluger's a good defensive forward and certainly would be better than what they've been rolling out here of late. But Derek Forbert's the only guy on defense that is hurt right now. And even then, we're not sure that he's an everyday player for the Vancouver Canucks. He could help the penalty kill. These are your Canucks, though, and they just can't defend for whatever reason. So let's get to the 3 stars in this hockey game, and there were lots of options. Florida had 15 different guys, including Sergei Bobrovsky, pick up a point. I think I read that was the 3rd time in franchise history they've had 15 guys figure in the scoring. 3 stars in the building: Seth Jones, Sam Reinhart, and Elias Pettersson. The 3 stars here on Rink Wide are brought to you by Greta Bar. Great place to catch all the games. Also a great place to gather if you're looking for a spot for a corporate outing, a sports team event, or a club or a social group. Greta would love to host you. They do it all the time, and they do it for all kinds of groups. It's got the big screens for all the action, plus the street food menu we tell you about. They've got game day specials. There's weekly drink specials. And oh yeah, there's those arcade games that add to the fun as well. If you haven't already, check it out. Greta Bar, the place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. All right, 3 stars here on Rink Wide. There's Seth Jones, a couple of goals, 5 shots on goal. So he was active and he was involved. Sam Reinhart, Pride of West fan, 3 assists on 3 shots. All 3 of his assists, primary helpers. So he was wheeling and dealing. He sets up Jones for the first one. Then Rodriguez to make it 4-2 and gets the assist on the other Seth Jones goal as well. So they were a package deal, 1 and 2. And there is Quinn Hughes. And I mean, we kind of joke here around the studio that we just leave him up as one of the stars and then we fill around. What a week. What a week for Quinn Hughes. 3 assists against Winnipeg. Doesn't play in Carolina. 4 assists in Tampa. 3 more assists here tonight. You add that up, that is, that's 10. 10 helpers for Quinn Hughes. I had to go back and look. Before the Winnipeg game, he was 18th among NHL defensemen in scoring. We all kind of thought, well, we haven't seen the best of Quinn Hughes. We're not used to seeing him that far down. Cale Makar was starting to run away with the defenseman scoring race and all that kind of stuff. In the span of 1 week, Quinn Hughes has jumped from 18th to 2nd. He's the 3rd star here on our show. He's the 3rd star in the National Hockey League this week. So remarkable stuff. Offensively, he has found his groove. The captain's got his groove back, and that is good news. But he can't do it alone. And there are 2 ends of the ice, and this wasn't a perfect game for Quinn Hughes as much as we want to laud him for all the offensive exploits. He got turnstiled by Mackie Samoskevich in the first period that led to an incredible save. As much as we talk about Yuri Patera and the goals that got past him, that was an incredible glove save. Samoskevich, though, walks right around the captain, cuts to the net. Quinn actually took a penalty on that play. And so when we talk about porous defense, you have to include the captain as well. There's plenty to go around here. But when it came to offense, absolutely dealing once again. So there are your 3 stars, Seth Jones, Sam Reinhart, and Quinn Hughes, the 3 stars in this hockey game. As for the Canucks, and we talked about Petey and his 2 goals. He's up to 6 on the season. That's 4 straight multi-point games. So steps in the right direction. The points are starting to come for Elias Pettersson. And as I said, both of his goals are nice. Like the 2-on-1 set up by Evander Kane midway through the second period. And then they go to the 3rd down 5-3, and you're thinking, they've been outplayed, end of a trip. Do they have any kind of push left? Well, 1 minute and 24 seconds in, they get the goal that they're looking for to sort of get the jump and put Florida back on its heels. And as we watch here on the replay, Verlander carries the puck across the line, nifty little drop pass to Sherwood, who hits Elias Pettersson in flight. That was a nasty backhand.
Yeah, it was vintage, like in tight. That's what really good players do, and he's finding it. And good for him. The points are starting to come. Obviously, playing a lot better. Doing so with really tough opposition, right? He's matched up every night. He's playing the other team's best players every single night. So he's being able to go and do that and remain consistent night in and night out. And you love to see it. Jeff, is our stat that stands out the one that you were telling me before the show with Elias Pettersson and Evander Kane?
No.
Okay, but so you were telling me about that one, and
right.
That was a great
People might be
stat.
surprised. The 21 games. I tweeted over the weekend about how much Evander Kane is playing right now at 5-on-5. That over the weekend he was second only to McDavid and Draisaitl in the National Hockey League among all forwards in 5-on-5 ice time. Most of that time has been spent with Elias Pettersson. Mm-hmm. They're separated on the power play because Kane's not. There's been some times, including one of the power plays tonight, where he was back with the first unit, but for the most part, he hasn't been. But Kane and Pettersson have been a thing here for the Vancouver Canucks. 21 games in, they finally have combined on a goal. Through the first 20 games, those guys hadn't set up each other, so Kane hadn't got an assist on any Pettersson goals. Pettersson hadn't figured in any of Kane's goals. It took 21 games, and Evander Kane with the nice little slip pass off the rush, and there was Pettersson to snap it home. That was the goal that made it 5-3. So, yeah, I mean, that is a stat that stands out. It's not. We've got another one coming up. On a night like tonight, it produced could have gone 1,000 different directions with our stat that stands out. But Elias Pettersson scores twice, so he's up to 6 goals on the season. Maybe we should have seen this coming. I said it took the Canucks a while to get their first shot on goal. Max Sasson had it with about 8 minutes to go in the first period. But the first goal of this hockey game was goofy. Mm-hmm. And it kind of was a signal of perhaps the struggles that would follow for the goaltenders. Sergei Bobrovsky, he's done all right for himself. A couple Stanley Cups. He's headed to the Hall of Fame. He couldn't smother a puck. Like, as routine a play as possible. And give Drew O'Connor some credit. Stuck with it. The guy's feeling it these days. He's up to 6 now in 21 games and has been red hot for the last couple of weeks. But that's a play that Sergei Bobrovsky makes in his sleep most nights and has to make. Just to freeze the puck, but O'Connor sticks with it. It was loose there momentarily, and he was able to tuck it home to give the Canucks the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and well, just moments before that, he got ran into by his own defenseman there, too.
Maybe he was still feeling the effects there.
Might have a little bit, because you don't see that often or at all.
No, that was Cole Schwint going back on a play, and Bobrovsky coming out, and like a pretty heavy collision. Puck squirts free to Tyler Myers from a sharp angle. I think he saw some daylight there. He wasn't able to convert, but you're right, moments later, and maybe Bob's bell had been rung. Who knows? He stayed in the hockey game. And so 1-0 for the Canucks. They've given up the first goal way more than they've scored it, but they open the scoring in this one. And then they get a power play. And who else? Jake DeBrusk, red hot here in the month of November. He's got his 8th of the season, 7 of them coming with the man advantage. And that was a great feed from Kiefer Sherwood. You know, we've joked here that Kiefer Sherwood, it's all goals, no assists. But he picked up his 2nd assist of the season, and it was a pretty one. Snaps it right through the blue paint, and there was DeBrusk on the back door to tap it home. So, a 2-0 lead. Didn't last long, only 36 seconds, but still, when you get a 2-0 lead, especially on the road, the end of a road trip, you want to do a little bit more with it than the Canucks ultimately were able to.
Yeah, I love that Kiefer Sherwood pass. He had the entire Florida PK unit standing still. He's looking back at Hughes. It was basically a no-look pass that went right through to the defenseman. Nobody even read, as you're seeing here on our live stream. Great feed by them. And, it was at 2-0. You're like, okay, and Florida's going to get one here eventually, just 36 seconds. But as I take a look at the stat sheet here a little bit as well, Jeff, penalties obviously an issue for the Vancouver Canucks, but you can't have Marcus Pettersson, you can't have Tyler Myers, and you can't have Quinn Hughes taking penalties. You can't have 3 defensemen taking penalties. Evander Kane's going to take a penalty at some point in a hockey game, but you can't have your defensemen taking penalties, especially those 3 who are so important to the Canucks D.
Going to get to the stat that stands out here in a sec, but just on the topic of penalties, so it's a 6-5 game. Bennett's put them back in front. There's 9 minutes to go in the hockey game. The way goals have been going in, the Canucks weren't out of it at that point. They're down a goal, and Marcus Pettersson looked like a linebacker in open field, just taking his man down, and you leaned over to me and you just said, let the guy go. The way that the Canucks killed penalties this year, just take your chances one-on-one with a goaltender, even though Yuri Patero wasn't making many stops. And sure enough, that's when Jones scores the 2nd of his 2 on the night, another power play goal. And you might have been onto something there. But in that moment, I mean, you're never going to give up a breakaway, but it feels inevitable right now. And the way that this game was going, who knows? They might have been better off just taking their chances on a breakaway instead of trying to fend off 2 full minutes of the power play.
No, absolutely. And I think that, look, we definitely don't have the answers. You hope Adam Foote and his coaching staff are going to have answers, but I bet you he's scratching his head too as they try and implement a system for their PK and why it's not working. But what do you attribute it to?
Well, for much of this year, it's been the cross-seam passes and the backdoor plays, but you look at the Seth Jones power play goal late in the first period, just off the rush. You don't even see power play goals scored like that often. And of all the goals on Bobrovsky or on Patera, rather, and I get it's a power play, but right through the wickets. And that's one I think I would have liked to have seen him. And again, the time of the game, too, in the final 10 seconds of the first period, could have helped the Canucks take a lead to the dressing room. So I didn't love that one. And then we talked about the other power play goal, just way too passive. Panthers move it around the outside, and here's the defenseman Jones cutting into the slot, and he's able to take a feed, and nobody's near him. Nobody touches him. Come on, it's the NHL. You got to do a better job of defending. But that goes across the board tonight. That might just be the tagline. You got to do a better job of defending. Pretty much sums up the way that this thing went tonight. All right, let's get to the stat that stands out. It's delivered, as always, by Uber Eats, and Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. Every time the Canucks play at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, or after the game. Uber Eats, assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. We have talked about the woes, the ineptitude on a lot of nights. This is the 5th time in the last 9 games that Vancouver has allowed at least 5 goals. This time it was 8, but 5 times in the last 9 games. That's a difficult way to have success, sustained success in the National Hockey League.
I said before, we were told defending and goaltending was going to be their strength this season, and unfortunately, they're not getting much from both of those positions right now. And it's the team defense. I don't mean just the guys on defense. It's the team defense as a whole, the collective unit. And you can't put things too much on Thatcher Demko. I know the goaltending, has been there. Like Kevin Lankinen probably didn't expect to play as much as he is going to play this season. Now with Thatcher Demko going down, and you have a guy in Yuri Patera, who we just talked about off the top of the show, hasn't played in a million years, and now he's going to be a guy that's going to be leaned upon now. So you have to bear down. You got to go back to the drawing board, and if it's structure, if it's system, whatever it is, winning 2-1 games, 3-2 games is okay, but the fact that they're allowing that many goals at such a rapid pace, it's very concerning for the Vancouver Canucks.
When we look under the hood a little bit here, some of the underlying numbers, they don't paint a pretty story, and that's going to happen when you're outshot 41-15. Of course, that's in all game situations. 5-on-5, it was a tough go for Tom Willander, and there's been a lot of good in Tom Willander's game. I'm not going to sit here and get the knives out for the kid, but the facts as presented, individual Corsi of 12.5. The shot attempts were 14-2. With Willander on the ice. The actual shots were 11-1, and his partner DPD didn't fare a whole lot better. The shots were 10-1 when he was on the ice, but Marcus Pettersson, a veteran, a guy that was acquired and immediately given the big ticket because this management group liked him, believed in him. The shots were 12-2 for Florida when he's on the ice. So it can't be that way. He's a number 3 in the National Hockey League. He's got to play like one. And it's been a tough season for Marcus Pettersson, both at 5-on-5 and part of the penalty kill as well. He had lots of company. It was a dismal night for Brock Besser. Shots were 11-3 for Florida when Besser was on the ice. We can go through this, talk about Lucas Reichel. I don't know where it goes from here, but the press box feels like it's
imminent
pretty soon. Archie Baines sitting out 3 in a row. Canucks didn't have a shot on goal with Lucas Reichel on the ice. Shots were 7-0. For the Florida Panthers in that situation. So, it is fair to ask, like, what do you do around here when you're talking about Lucas Reichel? Because this was another forgettable game. Only played 9 minutes and 34 seconds. We've seen that. His ice time has just been plummeting. Yeah, I mean, I want to give him a little bit of run as a winger and not a center. We know now that he's not a center. But he's got to hold up his end of the bargain. Whether you're playing in the middle or the wing, it's the NHL. You're getting ice time. Like we saw Mackenzie McEachern find the score sheet in Tampa in limited minutes. Like, it can be done. And there's just nothing there with Lucas Reichel. It's almost like the Canucks are playing with 11 forwards each and every night. So it's unfortunate. I wanted to believe that it was worth the 4th-round draft pick to give him a look. And at that point, they had 9 guys out of the lineup. They needed warm bodies that could play. But as they start to get players back here, I don't know. I don't know where it goes. I would think a healthy scratch would be the first one, but at some point, do the Canucks, is he a candidate to actually be sent down to Abbotsford at some point? Something's going to have to give here if and when they get some bodies back, and you hope that Connor Garland, who missed this game after the effects of the fight early in the game in Tampa, Adam Foote said before the game that he didn't think it would be too long, and of course now this sort of breather in the schedule. Hopefully Garland is healed up and ready to go when they get back at it on Thursday at home against the Dallas Stars.
Well, it'll be good for them. Obviously, getting Garland back, he means so much to this team as well, especially offensively. Talked about a lot of the stats that didn't go the right way for the Vancouver Canucks. Was there anything to take away for you from their performance? I know Pettersson was good, or scored 2 goals. Mm-hmm. That's good. Quinn Hughes obviously getting the 3 assists. What else do you like? If that's just it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was disappointed, even before the goals started to flow in this hockey game, that, 12 minutes to get a shot on goal. If yesterday hadn't happened in Tampa, I might have excused it and said, okay, back-to-back 3 and 4. But after getting worked the way they did in the opening 20 minutes in Tampa and getting outshot 13-1 there, like, I have to imagine that was talked about, either post-game yesterday or maybe the euphoria of the win yesterday, and they kind of ignored that. But, as they prepare for this one, again, Florida was coming off a loss to Tampa on home ice. You knew that Florida would want to be better than they had been in their last home game. And I just didn't like the start to this hockey game, and that's before there were goals in it. And then, obviously, as the goals started, did not like that. So what did I like? The fact that power play continues to produce. I like the fact that Jake DeBrusk continues to find those goals as he did last year in and around the blue paint, making a name for himself.
Mr. November.
Yeah, and Mr. Power Play.
I
think he's second only to Wyatt Johnston. We're going to have a battle of the top 2 power play guys here on Thursday night. So, I like that. It's tough. I mean, it really is tough to go through this lineup and find things that I liked. I wanted to like David Kampf. We talked about on the ice for way too many goals. I guess I liked his face-off prowess there, but it's a team game ultimately, and this team it's not good enough. And again, we've talked about they've been plucky, and people are throwing the resilient word around. The coach does an awful lot, but in the end, just bumping up against the 500 bar all the time and then falling behind and then trying to scratch and claw their way up over it again. I mean, they're at the quarter mark now. Like, this is a pretty good sense. I know that they haven't had the full lineup together, but neither have the Florida Panthers. And look around the National Hockey League. There are a lot of teams that are dealing with injuries. So it's not exclusive to the Vancouver Canucks. I want to believe the worst of it is over from 3 weeks ago when they were down 8 or 9 guys. But most of their stars are in this lineup now, and they're still getting pumped for just way too many goals. This segment of Rink Wide, presented by the Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. Drive up to 72 kilometers on battery alone. That's enough to get you from downtown to the rink to the grocery store and then home to recharge. Seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 900 and 62 kilometers. 962 feels like the number of goals that were scored in this hockey game tonight. No sacrifices, maybe just the shots against the Canucks in the road trip. It seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine. We said the combined range 962. No sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use, and you can plug in to recharge at home or at one of over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. Right now, you can lease the 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down, and that includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. All right, I turn it right back at you. Did I miss anything? Was there something else to like in this hockey game from the visitors tonight? Right.
I think it's Elias Pettersson just getting consecutive games with multi-points. I think that, everyone, obviously, especially in our social circles and as well on our channels and things like that, everyone wants to talk about him. And usually they want to quickly point blame to the guy that makes a lot of money and a guy that, is being depended on. But it's good to see him going out there and doing what he's paid to do. And that's score goals, score pretty goals, make it look nice. So, you hope you can ride the tails of Elias Pettersson offensively. But other than that, like I said, the game was 8-5 and it wasn't a fun hockey game to watch.
I can't imagine it looked a whole lot better from behind the bench either. Okay. So, the head coach has spoken down in South Florida. Canucks are overnighting. They've done this before. Did it at one of the Nashville, at the end of one of the road trips earlier this season. They've got time here. They don't play again until Thursday, and so I think they're going to use the time to their benefit overnight in South Florida, and then tomorrow will be a travel day all the way back home. Practice day on Wednesday, get ready to take on the Dallas Stars to wrap up the 6-game gauntlet. And the way the Stars are going, Jason Robertson, first star in the National Hockey League this week, they're heating up. So that's not exactly the kind of opponent that the Canucks will want to see, but they have beaten Dallas already once this year. So they'll take their chances at home against the Stars on Thursday. Here's Adam Foote after a crazy 8-5 loss to the Florida Panthers.
Adam, let's start with your takeaways from the performance in this one.
Well, we're up 2-0. We made a little bit of a mistake on a rush goal on that PK. We let them back in it. They're a potent offense, and you can't exchange chances. But we were right there, and we made a couple mistakes at the wrong time.
I know it's not the outcome you want for him, but Yuri Patera gets a start in net tonight. What did you see from him?
Well, he was strong. Early. We were up 2-0, and he played hard. We gave him I think they had 3 semi-breakaways in the first on him after that, or the early second, and so we didn't really help him with that. We had a couple breakdowns that they took advantage of, so we put him in a tough spot a few times, but it's his first game in a while at this level, and there's an adjustment, right?
How much did all the time in the penalty box on both sides play into today's game?
Yeah, it was, there was a lot called. It was bizarre at times, some of the calls and everything was going on, but both teams were dealing with it. And, they got 2 on their PP, we got 2 on ours. And it was more of just we had our own couple breakdowns at the wrong time that let them back in it.
Do you think it was just a couple breakdowns, or what do you think defensively of the team effort tonight?
We try. We tried. There was a couple, we weren't under a stick at one and the tip went in, and then we went out wide on the rush where we had 10 seconds left in the period, which is not what we usually do. But, a back-to-back, maybe there's some fatigue sets in as well. But, I thought Pettersson and Huggy and, Hronik and Kane, like our older veteran players were going. They were humming. A couple mistakes at the wrong time with a team like that. Their experience, they're going to make you pay. And, but we have to find a way to take some of the good stuff that happened out of that too.
Yeah, too bad you couldn't get any momentum when you make it 5-5 there to get a little more chance. They get one right back.
Maybe 5-5, they're low to high. I think it was going wide. We're not under a stick. It happens fast. It's something we got to learn from.
A long ways to come for 3 games, 1-1 record against some good teams. What's your overall takeaway from the road trip, Adam?
Yeah, we want more. We always want more. Carolina we held in there. Had a big comeback last night. We're learning from some teams that are very seasoned and experienced, and we've adjusted well to them. We've had some success, but they're great games to learn from, especially our younger guys, to see what it takes, and you got to stay focused for 60 minutes.
All right, there's Adam Foote. I was glad that I didn't expect that he was going to throw the goalie under the bus. Was asked point blank about the goaltender. I'm not sure what he can say. He tried to give him some credit early on for a few of the saves that he made. But again, in this environment, behind this defense, that was a big ask for anybody, whether it was Thatcher Demko or Kevin Lankinen, or in this case, Jiri Patera. And he's not wrong when he says they were right there, but he never really, I was surprised, and he has kept his cool post-game. Again, this team gives up an awful lot, way too many, in fact. And we haven't really seen him come down hard on his hockey club. Points to mistakes that they don't usually make, and kind of runs you through some of the goals there. I don't know. I mean, do we admire the strategy of him keeping his composure here, or at some point we'd like to say, enough's enough here. We got to get this figured out.
Well, if he's not saying it in the media, you better hope he's saying it in the room.
Yeah.
And I think he is. I do. I think that, maybe Foote delivers his message to his team by himself. He doesn't go through the media to do it. But you'd like to see. I mean, it'd be entertaining for us, and obviously people watching would like to see, him fired up a little bit after, a game like that, or after giving up 5 goals in nine games, or over a stretch of 9 games. It's too easy right now for other teams to play the Vancouver Canucks, and I think that's where you look at a guy in his career, the way that he played the game. That guy was tough as nails to play against.
Yeah. For those wondering, 41 shots against, that is a season high. 8 is way more than any other night. They'd only given up 5. I say only. 5 was the most that they had. So they hadn't been, blown out. The doors hadn't been blown off them to this point. They'd had the 5-1 loss to Pittsburgh, but that was a 2-1 game late into the second period, if I recall. So this kind of stands alone. Most shots given up and most goals against. But come back to this idea, and he was talking about playing good teams on this road trip. 2 of the last 3 nights. So Carolina, they gave up 39 shots, or 38 shots rather, and here it's 41. 2 of the 3 most shots against the Canucks this season coming on this road trip. St. Louis, the game that included overtime, that the Canucks won 4-3 in a shootout. Actually, the Blues had 39 shots. So, that's not trending in the right direction necessarily here. And as we said, they got Quinn Hughes back. You would have thought that was going to be this boost, and it was to some degree offensively, but 2 ends of the ice here just didn't love a lot of what I saw from the Vancouver Canucks out on this road trip. One other thing that we should talk about, and we haven't here, and it didn't involve the Canucks, but it was part of this game. Jeff Petrie played his 1,000th game in the National Hockey League. This is a guy that's played for Florida and Detroit and Pittsburgh and Montreal, broke into the National Hockey League with Edmonton back in 2010, 2011. So he's been at this a while. You don't get to 1,000 games without getting around the block a few times. Why is it that some teams honor guys before their 1,000th game? We did a game where Nazem Kadri not that long ago, the Canucks, it was on TV while we were doing a Canucks game. Calgary saluted Nazem Kadri, and I remember Winnipeg did it with Sam Gagner as well before his 1,000th game. What if he comes down ill? What if he gets hurt in the warm-up? Jeff Petrie, I guess they'll have some sort of celebration. He'll get his silver stick at a later date, but just go and play the game and get yours later. It sort of feels like this should be set in stone in the National Hockey League. Here's how you do it. We'll get you your silver stick, but it's going to come after you have actually appeared in 1,000 games.
Some teams do a really good job of this, and other teams just don't care. Just kind of figure it out. Or may even be up to the player.
Yeah.
When they want it, got to get the... Well, I guess when your 1,000th game is. You tell when your family and friends to come in town and stuff like that. But, yeah, I remember the Kadri one. Yeah, they did it before he played in the game.
Tyler Myers played his 1,000th game out on the road, so obviously there wasn't going to be a ceremony in Philadelphia. It was going to happen once he got back off the road. But here it was a home game for Jeff Petrie, whatever the case. His kids, they had the shot of the kids coming in, doing the lineup before the game had the 4 boys. I think they're all names that started with a B. And so big night for Jeff Petrie and the family. Although I don't think, when we talked about 15 different guys figured in the scoring, and Jeff Petrie was one of the ones that didn't, played 11 minutes and 44 seconds, has settled in now at this stage of his career. He's 37 or 38 years old. Very much a depth defenseman. Just looking at ice times in this game, no surprise, Quinn Hughes leads everybody, plays 29 minutes and 39 seconds, 1 shot on goal, 8 attempts though. So Quinn was having trouble getting pucks through to the net. As far as shots that did get through, Philip Hronek led the way for the Canucks. He had 3 and he scores his first goal of the season. Again, kind of quietly going about his business, picking up points here along the way, but offense isn't the issue for the Canucks right now. It's what's happening at the other end of the ice for the Florida Panthers. We talked about Seth Jones. He had a big night, 24 minutes and 23 seconds. I think that led the... Oh, no, Sam Reinhart plays 24 minutes and 41 seconds. We mentioned the 3 primary assists. He had 3 shots on goal, 6 attempts, and 4 block shots as well. So pretty complete game from the pride of West Vancouver there. And, the Florida Panthers spread the offense around so much so that Sergei Bobrovsky picked up the second assist on the first of the 2 Seth Jones goals, the power play goal off the rush late in period number 1. 8-5. The Florida Panthers defeat the Vancouver Canucks, and so with their tails between their legs, the Canucks will come on home. Game on Thursday, game on Sunday, lots of breathing time, lots of downtime here, some practice time as well. And boy, can this team use practice, and we'll see if any of those guys that are on the injured list reappear and skate with the group. They made the roster move today to get David Camp activated, and that was sending Victor Mancini back to Abbotsford. He hasn't played since coming off injury. He just needs games. Young guy needs to play, so it makes sense. And if he wasn't going to play tonight, then, they needed that roster spot. So Mancini now has to play in Abbotsford before they can call him back up. I don't know that there's going to be a rush right now to get him back into the National Hockey League.
Abbotsford could use him.
And Abbotsford, absolutely. They got Lecker-Mackey back, and he had a goal and a bunch of shots over the weekend, so that's a step in the right direction for him. And he hasn't been terrific, but they already have P.O. Joseph as an extra body here at the NHL level. It made no sense to have 2 extra defensemen. So Mancini goes back, and I would imagine he'll play and play a lot. And Abbotsford can absolutely use him. And we'll see what happens. But the Canucks with 23 on the roster, Connor Garland stays on the roster, and the hope is that he'll be good, ready to go when they get back at it on Thursday. All right, it's time for our line of the night, a presentation of Bet365. You weren't here over the weekend. Tyson Cole in your stead. He came through. He did his best. He had the big parlay the one night. It didn't cash, but nevertheless, where are you looking?
I had my 7-game All-Canadian team on that was dead after 1 leg. But anyways, we're going to go, obviously, to the Vegas Golden Knights. I like them at home to the New York Rangers. The Leafs... Berube against, a team that he did coach. I think, Dakota Joshua, a team that he did play for. Sammy Blais, is he going to get into the lineup there? We'll see. And the Chicago Blackhawks, I like them at home to the Calgary Flames. If you want to add a Connor Bedard point, those almost come automatic as well for Chicago Blackhawks and for Connor Bedard. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the Olympic rosters get kind of announced. I know people want Bedard, want Celebrini, want Matthew Schaefer, but anyways, that's your bet. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary. Bet365, download the app, get it on the game, use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly.
I wanted to ask you, we talked about David Camp in his night. It didn't go so well, but we haven't had a chance because you weren't here over the weekend. Just the idea of the Canucks making the move to bring him in, get him in at prorated million and $1.1 million for the rest of the season. Were you surprised? The minute that the idea of him having the contract terminated, it sounded like the Canucks were floated as one of the teams that was going to be in on him.
Well, it's no secret the Canucks were going to be in the desperate need of a center. Is that the center that they really, really, really want and coveted? Probably not, but there's so many other things that have to go into consideration before you make a big deal like that. But I think David Camp, before the contract got terminated, I think he asked the Leafs if he could go back to his home country and play. In Czechia. And I don't think the Leafs wanted him to do that. They wanted him to play in the American League, and I don't think that David Camp wanted to play in the American League. I think this has a lot to do as well with Czechia and the Olympics. I think the Olympic coach wants Kampf to play in the NHL. And wants him to play a lot, and Kampf will play a lot here in Vancouver. It's a chance for him where he's not going to get buried down the lineup. They're in a position where they need centers, and he's going to get an opportunity here. So an interesting move for them, obviously giving him the 1.1 prorated, but hopefully he can settle in here a little bit. I know he's got a ton of games obviously under his NHL belt, and maybe he'll get acclimated. He was with this team on Sunday, but then didn't make his debut until Monday night against Florida. So hopefully, gets back into Vancouver and figure things out, and maybe they'll get a win for him soon.
Yeah, again, it didn't go the way he or the hockey club wanted tonight.
No.
And when you're on the ice for 5 goals, that's way too many, especially when you're considered a defensive specialist. But I am willing to cut him a little bit of slack, just getting tossed into a tough spot the way that this team as a whole is playing. So he's got to be better. They've got to be better, because one of the biggest challenges in the National Hockey League is going to be here on Thursday, and that is the Dallas Stars, who are idle tonight. They're at home to Bo Horvat and the Islanders on Tuesday before they make their way to Vancouver. They're 12-4-1 on the season. One of those outright losses coming to the Canucks down in Big D. But Dallas right now on a 5-game win streak, and with one outright loss in their last 13 hockey games. They're 9-1-3 in their last 13 games. I mentioned earlier, Jason Robertson, the first star of the week. Guy has 6 goals in his last 3 games. Wyatt Johnson leads the NHL with 8 power play goals. He leads the Stars with 11 goals in the season. Oh, yeah, Mikko Rantanen already up to 26 points. So they've got a buy. I mean, it's a team that has been built to win for a while now. And, on top of all that, they got the second best power play in the National Hockey League that's clicking at 33%. So they score once every 3 power plays. Canucks penalty kill remains in that neighborhood of 66%, and they give up a power play goal every 3 opportunities. And that's not exactly the matchup that the Canucks will want to see, but that's the matchup that they've got on Thursday. They're going to have their hands full against the Stars.
Couple more weeks till my Vibo-meter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
It's idling it low right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going well personally for Quinn Hughes, but again, if the season's all about winning and presenting a viable option to win here, this road trip was not exactly Exhibit A for management and ownership of the Vancouver Canucks. So they're going to have their hands full, as we said. Stars have just one outright loss on the road all season long. They're 6-1-2. Anyway, you slice it. It's a good Dallas hockey club. Thomas Harley's out of the lineup, so they're not at full capacity, not revving on all cylinders, but they still got plenty there. And so the Stars will make their way to Vancouver for a game on Thursday, and that's when we'll be back with our next episode of Rink Wide Vancouver. Is that enough time for the Canucks to get this group into the garage and make some repairs, crank open the hood, maybe rotate the tires? I don't know what they have to do, but what they're doing ain't working right now, so it'd be interesting to see what, if any, changes this coaching staff can come up with in time for the Stars on Thursday night.
Let's have a sunglass flight home. That's what this team needs.
Yeah, night out.
And I just go to Fort Lauderdale, have some fun.
Maximize your time in South Florida before the long haul home tomorrow. All right, one other thing, and again, we've thrown all kinds of numbers at you, but I just wanted to squeeze this one in. The Canucks are 9-10-2 now on the season. So this was their 10th outright loss on whatever the date is, November the 17th. They have 10 regulation losses. They had 10 regulation losses at Christmas last year. They were 17-10-7. But they found a way to get a lot of those games. They didn't fare well in overtime, but they found a way to get a ton of games to overtime, get single points. They already have reached the same number of regulation losses as they had at Christmas. And the problem there is regulation losses mean you get 0. And when the regulation losses start to mount, that's when trouble sets in for any hockey club. So just something to file away here that they reached the 10 regulation loss mark 6 weeks sooner than they did last year. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Yeah, exactly. Our thanks to Jacob Fraser helping out behind the scenes, producing the program here. We're back to do this again on Thursday. We'll see what Thursday we work with the material they present, and boy, did they present some material on this road trip. Florida beats the Canucks by a score of 8-5 for Irf. I'm Jeff. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.